Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. Today we're delving into the track Walk Alone by the American alternative rock band Anberlin. This song will feature on the band's upcoming 8th studio album titled Vega, which is due to be released on the 2nd of August and will serve as a combination of their two previous EPs in the form of Silverline and Convinced. However, there'll be two new tracks featured within it as well, one of which will be this track, and that's because Matty Mullins of Memphis May Fire has taken over on those live vocals. Stephen Christian, the original vocalist, has stepped down from just live duties. I still think he'll be working with the band in the studio, but they're actually featuring some original songs with Matty, which is great to see. Rather than just stepping into the live shoes, allowing him to really get more integrated with the band, really get that feel and provide some of his own contributions in terms of vocal sound, kind of allow people to be warmed up to what he's going to sound like. Obviously, Memphis May Fire is a bit of a step away from Anberlin's typical sound, so it'll be interesting to see how he does integrate himself into the band and into their music. So will this latest release feel like a standalone track or feel like part of an anthemic album? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
I've seen forever and it's dressed in white. Heart stops and it feels like heaven right here, right here. We fall apart together, you and I. No matter what the kind of pain looks like, I'm right here, I'm right here. So don't you walk alone tonight. It'll get better. Let these words always be your light. I promise that I would cry with you, bleed for you. So don't you walk alone tonight. If you ever feel you've gone too far, look back and you'll see me running for you. I'm for you. With eyes deeper than my heart could know. Remember what I said when we danced slow. I'm for you. I'm for you. So don't you walk alone tonight. It'll get better. Let these words always be your light. I promise that I would cry with you, bleed for you. So don't you walk alone tonight.
Okay, I'm already loving a couple of things about this track. It's always interesting when you're going to integrate effectively a new singer. Stephen Christian does have this very iconic tone to his voice that's certainly very hard to replicate, and I'm glad that they've just kind of moved away from that, right? Rather than trying to replicate that sound, they've just kind of allowed something very fresh, and I really love the way that Matty's actually kind of bringing in these softer, but slightly grittier vocals than what we do expect with Stephen Christian. You had these really soft layers to his voice, and I really love the way that's kind of got a bit more rugged sound to it, but I also love the way that they're really just showing more of the sounds that we have seen from the band over those previous two EPs. They've kind of moved away from that very early, strong, driving rock that we had with some of their earlier albums, such as Blueprints from the Black Market, Never Take Friendship Personal, Cities. And one thing I really do like about this track as well is just how prominent the bass is. It's not kind of really standing out above things like the drums, but it's got a really slick bass line that really provides this really driving groove that I think is really just kind of, you don't notice it too much, but if you really focus on it, you realize how much it is driving this track forward to really provide a very strong backbone for the rest of the instruments to really build around. And in terms of its actual messaging, I love how it's very, very simple. The idea of not walking alone. You are never alone. There's always people to support you, and no one is alone, no matter how different they may feel they be. And I like the way that they've incorporated lots of people into the music video that may be kind of seen as stereotypes or maybe seen as outsiders, and that idea of just not being alone. There's always somebody there to support you, and I really love the way they're kind of doing it in that first person perspective. I've seen forever and it's dressed in white, heart stops and it feels like heaven right here, right here. We fall apart together, you and I. So that idea of togetherness, everybody coming together, even though the track is called Walk Alone, the fact that you're never going to have to do that, no matter what the kind of pain looks like, I'm right here, I'm right here. So it's a really solid track in the way it just kind of brings people together and just really could kind of look at the things such as lovers, friends, absolutely all sorts, that real support network that two people can have. So as we move into that chorus, so don't you walk alone tonight, it'll get better. Let these words always be a light. I promise that I would cry with you, hurt with you, bleed for you. So I really love that supportive nature that's coming through on that chorus, and that much more anthemic styling we've got coming through that allows you to really soar with it, soar with the chorus and really get involved. It's got, again, that real nice driving groove that really helps you really kind of bob your head to it, really get involved with the track.
That I would cry with you, hurt with you, bleed for you. Cry with you, hurt with you, bleed for you. So don't you walk alone tonight, it'll get better. Let these words always be your light. I promise that I would cry with you, hurt with you, bleed for you. Don't you walk alone
Well, what a great little introduction to Matty Mullins, really making his mark as he does step into the shoes of Stephen Christian for some of these tracks. And I think it's a great way to just really introduce him. Just a very simple, easy, feel-good track about togetherness, about really being incorporated into a group or things like that. The idea of never walking alone, never feeling like you are completely alone in this world. So I really love the very simple ideas that they're really bringing across. The idea of not walking alone tonight, just kind of using the ideas of the light and the dark. And it's, again, something that the band have always focused on. Dark is the way light is a place from 2010. And things like that. So they've always kind of had this quite serious message with them being, certainly in their early days, very focused on that Christian style of rock. And I really love the way keeping in some of these driving elements. It doesn't kind of go too slow, but I do love the way that bridge really just goes to the acoustic guitars, kind of softens things down and bursts back in to that chorus. I really love the way they actually did that. I think it was really nice just to kind of ebb and flow these little levels that we have got and just really just add something very, very sweet and a slightly calmer element to the track. And again, just love the way that they kind of mixed it in with the video, almost him just kind of, they're 4 days into the auditions, they kind of get something where they're sick of hearing people. He comes in, just this soft, nice introduction, then explodes, and obviously we've got some of them just kind of spitting their drink out, things like that. So I love the way they really play with it and really show the playfulness on this track, and the fact that they're embracing the changes within the band with such open arms, which the band is certainly just very good at doing, and really kind of changing things up and just allowing themselves to continue to put out some very interesting music. And I certainly think that this track certainly does that, and I think it'll fit very well. And also be interested to see exactly how 7 does sound, because it's interesting to see Matty kind of taking that step away from Memphis May Fire, that heavier kind of sound, into something much softer. But I think he steps in very, very well. I think he's a great addition to this band, and it's kind of, I don't really see this as like the original Anberlin. I mean, I grew up listening to albums like Cities and things like that. They were, I pretty much played them on repeat in the mid to late 2000s, so you kind of don't see it as the same band. But I like the fact that for the band members, they've kind of kept a lot of those original elements from the band. It is just the vocals that have changed. So whilst it does feel like two completely different entities under one name, I certainly think he's done a very good job integrating himself into the vocals on this track. So there we have it, our first taste of Matty Mullins fronting Anberlin. What a great addition. Just a great anthemic, soaring rock track that we have got that really is just very easy to get on board with. I certainly do think it's a great way to introduce him. Just kind of throw a bit of uniqueness, throw a bit of fun in there. Certainly very good to see. But I would love to know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. Do you see this kind of still as Anberlin, or do you kind of look at it as almost a different band? Do you think that Matty can't really fully replace Stephen Christian with the vocal styles? Or do you kind of just like the way it's almost like they've got two vocalists vocalists now and see it as a way of they're kind of both contributing in their own way and they are just effectively under that one name. I really would love to know your thoughts, especially if you're a long-time Anberlin fan, you've heard lots of their previous discography. How do you feel with this change that the band have made going forward? Also, if you'd like to see more content like this overall, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.